Welcome back to the Agentic AI Summit. That's a good start. Day two, and we are in for a real treat today. We have lots of VCs, lots of top CXOs, leading analysts, and we're kicking things off with our session with Godard, Abel, and Kerry Cunningham from Sixth Sense and G2, respectively. How are you doing, gentlemen?
Doing great. Thank you. Good to be here.
Doing well. Thanks, Julia.
Amazing. Kerry,
Yeah,
this stage is yours.
great. Happy to do that. So, hi, everybody. I'm very excited about having this conversation because I think we've got somebody here who has the background and the ability to really have a great conversation about what being AI native actually means and what it's going to mean for your business, how you get there. So just a quick second of background for me. For those who don't know me, I work at Sixth Sense, and I head up a research and thought leadership practice. I come from almost a decade as an analyst at Forrester and Serious Decisions and a lifetime in B2B prior to that. Godard, if you could take just a second to introduce yourself, then I think we could dive into the questions.
Yeah, hi, Kerry. So I'm Godard Abel, co-founder, CEO of G2, and we're really building the trusted source of data on AI and software. And I've been a software entrepreneur now for 25 years, built also 3 CPQ companies, big machines, one up at Oracle, Steelbrick with Salesforce, and most recently Logic with ServiceNow. And so I've been in enterprise software forever, and so excited now to see this massive transformation with AI.
Yeah, and I think that background is something, if we could dwell on that for a moment, because I think that perspective is something that we ought to dig into a little bit. So particularly the background, and I think what we could call pretty process heavy businesses, industries, right? And looking at what that means about how we use AI in the future. So I'd be interested to understand, like, how did your background in the kind of businesses that you've been in, that you've started, and that you've run, inform the way you think about AI now?
Yeah, no, and I think Kerry, having built 3 CPU companies, I mentioned configure, price, quote, but they are all
Yeah,
about flows. A lot of people talk about in that area quote to cash workflows.
yeah.
And with CPQ being able to generate an accurate quote, but then workflow that for pricing approvals, convert it to an order, contract, and then ultimately have that all drive your fulfillment. But in any enterprise, that's a lot of workflows, a lot of functions, people that have to touch the quote and order to make sure it's valid and then obviously delivered accurately on time for the customer. And I do think that's where the massive opportunity is for AI. And I'm actually here in Las Vegas this week. There's the ServiceNow Connect conference, and you might have seen yesterday, Bill McDermott, the CEO of ServiceNow, was with Jensen Huang, the founder CEO of NVIDIA, and they were really announcing that ServiceNow now really is becoming an AI platform and also partnering with NVIDIA to enable enterprises to automate all their workflows with AI. And so I think that includes, and as I mentioned, ServiceNow just acquired a company, Logic, where I'm the executive chairman, and that was also a CPU company. But I think, and it really also is doing an AI first approach. But I do think now with AI, we can reimagine all these workflows, including quote to cash, and really have agents assist throughout the process and reduce the amount of especially tedious work that humans have to do. And I think that's what we all love about AI. And I think one of the things, like in a quoting process, nobody loves filling in forms. And sometimes, let's say to configure a quote, it might take, if it's a complex enterprise solution, let's say you're configuring a data center, you might need 500 or even 5,000 inputs. And no human likes kind of doing that manually. And now with AI, it can just make a recommendation and say, hey, Kerry, here's the best data center configuration for you. Here's the draft quote. Do you like it? Do you want to buy it? And so I think with AI, we can just streamline all these workflows, create much better user experiences, and get through the process much more efficiently. And so I think that's why everyone, is so excited, including everyone here at ServiceNow.
Yeah, they're on the go-to-market side of things, where Sixth Sense exists in kind of automating a lot of go-to-market kind of practices. It's where I've spent my whole adult life, essentially. And one of the things that I've seen over time, so I was the VP of operations for a very people-centric business for a long time. And the amount of process loss you have from people just forgetting, not doing completely, not being capable of doing in many cases the things that are required of them. It's pretty staggering when you're the person in charge of those processes and trying to corral them and have them go as efficiently as effectively as possible. And I think we get used to just how much waste there is, and we become inured to the fact that there are lots of things in the business that just leak money and time and resource that we don't really think or haven't really been able to think about the fact that maybe none of that's necessary, right?
Mm.
That we could be dramatically more efficient. When I look at, in Sixth Sense with our customers, the biggest issue we have with our customers is the same issue I had when I was running a third-party teleservices organization. It's that the people who have access to prospects who we know are clearly in market simply don't follow up on them.
Mm.
Just there's a thing to be done, but stuff comes up. They get pulled in other directions. It's not always or even often neglect. It's
Mm.
it's competing priorities. It's lack of skill, or it's a process that's broken and doesn't deliver the thing the way it's supposed to. And so all kinds of things that should be happening don't happen. It seems to me that that's really, even in go-to-market, where we have a tremendous ability to rethink really everything that we're doing.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think in go-to-market, and traditionally we have relied on humans, SDRs, BDRs, sales reps. And you're right, they don't always follow up, right? Especially they don't always follow up in real time.
Yep.
And so I think in go-to-market specifically with AI, and I think we actually use the Sixth Sense agent also, because one of the basic challenges is, G2, we might get a hot lead, but you're right, sometimes no one follows up. Or also, I think the other opportunity with AI is actually to make better follow-up.
Mm-hmm.
The other challenge we've all had to go to market, we all tend to hire junior people, maybe fresh out of college to be our SDR, BDRs to do that initial follow-up, but
Yeah.
we don't oftentimes have all the business context, on all your customers and all your prospects. So, and I think we get a lot of these, frankly, sort of lame emails, either in response to an inquiry we submit or just, outreach emails that don't have enough context to really resonate, with us as executive leaders. And I think that's a massive opportunity. And I think we've seen that, like I said, at G2, we have used your Sixth Sense agent. And nice thing, it can be in the voice of our CMO, Sydney Sloan. She's a
Yeah.
brilliant CMO, and we can train the agent to follow up for Sydney in real time. And I think that's always been also a challenge in, follow up. I think there's all these studies like, hey, if you follow up within 1 minute, 5 minutes, and you do a
Yeah.
high quality follow up that has all the context, answers, relevant to that prospect's inquiry, then your odds of conversion go up, 10x, 100x. So I think it's both the process automation, but the quality,
Mm-hmm.
the speed. And I think AI is one of those magical things in process improvement. Usually people say there's like a trade-off between like quality, cost, and speed. But with AI, you sort of get all three. You can get
Right.
quality, go-to-market follow-up. You can get, it's faster, it can be real time, and it's more efficient. And I think that's why everyone is so excited about the transformative power of AI in
Mm-hmm.
market. And so we're also seeing that on G2. I think, as you know, we have a software marketplace, and there's almost 200,000 different listings of different software products, services related to software. Now, of course, all these AI first startups listing on G2. I think in the last year we saw a growth of 23%, which means
Mm-hmm.
there's almost 40,000 new listings on G2. And so it's just such an exciting time of innovation where all these startups trying to pile in, do AI first. And then of course all the existing vendors, ServiceNow, Salesforce, are all innovating as well and launching their own AI platforms, their own AI solutions. And so I think I've
Right.
really, in 25 years, probably never seen as exciting of a time. I mean, honestly, it reminds me of when I started my first company, Big Machines. That was a dot-com era. You might remember that, Kerry, when the internet was still
Yeah.
new. And I remember we were actually one of the first companies then trying to bring, SaaS, and it wasn't even called SaaS or cloud yet, but trying to bring that to life in the, dot-com boom. And that all actually then wound up taking longer. There was kind of a dot bomb bust, as you might remember, and
Yeah,
it actually took a
I
few
sure
years.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, for at the time, I think it was called on-demand software,
Yeah.
and we were also an early partner of Salesforce.
Yep.
Before I think, and probably give Mark Benioff credit. Maybe he called it the cloud in like 2007 or eight,
Right.
which greatly helped us and really the whole ecosystem because people started to adopt it. But I think AI is happening much faster. Yeah, because I think ChatGPT, the 3.5, that big moment in November 2022, when we all saw the power of AI. I think, and just in now, it's been, well, 2.5 years, let's say,
Yeah.
just creation, but I think it all works. You know what I mean? I think that's the difference. Like I said, I think that, and we tried your Sixth Sense agent and it just worked.
Yeah.
Traditionally, enterprise software, sadly, a lot of stuff, that's announced at these big keynotes doesn't work, or it takes a few years to work. And I
Right.
think what we're seeing now, these AI agents can work. And I think next level now is chaining together agents. And, I think because I think there's like in go to market, you can have that basic response agent. And I think one of the things we're also working on G2 is to help software buyers. So we've built an AI agent at G2 we call Monty,
Mm-hmm.
can now be like a virtual analyst or a virtual, let's say, eccentric consultant that can guide you to the best software based on your requirements. And
Yeah.
so we're developing software buying agents, but we're also helping sellers on their G2 listing. And you could do this for 6 cents. You all have great reviews. One is obviously leader in many categories, including account-based software. And but you could also train Monty to answer questions buyers might have as they're looking at your profile on G2. And I think that may be the future, right? We have buying agents, selling agents
Yeah.
that are talking to each other and really completing a whole workflow, even as complex as selecting enterprise software. And as you know, that can
Right.
often take years.
Yep.
And I think now, agent to agent, maybe one day, even a complex process like selecting the best enterprise software for your business and buying it could be done by agents, almost in real time. And so I think the transformation really is just beginning as we connect these agents going forward to do whole workflows, enterprise workflows, complete whole jobs that today, rely on many chains of humans, and those chains often break.
Right. Yeah. And that's always been the case there. So I want to come back to what I think is a bit of a the social element of that if we talk about buying. And I want to dig into AI native and what AI native means. And as an introduction to that, I want to pose something that based on what you talked about a second ago. So if we think about those young people that we hire who are BDRs, SDRs in our business, um, and we think so what we have, I think, with AI now is the ability to think about why we're actually structured the way we're structured. So
Mm.
why do we have young people who are clearly inexperienced and not very good at what they do, honestly? Why do we have
Not
them in
yet.
what's that?
Not yet.
Not
You
yet. No,
you
they're learning. Why do we have them as the front line introduction of our business to potential customers?
True.
And the answer is because no matter how good they are, what they do is going to have a very low success rate because the thing that we're feeding them to do is not correct, right? This is not the right product. What we're delivering them, all these leads that we're delivering them, for instance, we know that most of them are of no value and are going nowhere. And so we don't put our expensive, high-powered AE on that, right? They come in way later once we've spent all of the time and energy going through this pile of what is mostly going to be rubbish, right?
Mm,
We don't have to do, I mean, we can ask the question, right? Does it have to be that way?
mm,
Or is it not just that we get through those things faster or better or in a more automated way? Can we actually just leave most of those people alone, let them read our content, enjoy our content, and focus our energies on the real buyers, the needles in that big haystack by using automation and AI in a way that helps us do both things, helps us understand which buyers are real buyers, provide a great experience, and make sure we don't miss any of the things we're going to miss. But that requires like an AI native kind of mindset, not just in the builders of the AI, but in the people who are using it in the like go-to-market functions. So anyway, long way of introducing. I wanted to talk a little bit about what AI native means to you, and if I've touched on any of it in what I said, or if you've got something completely different in mind.
Yeah, no, I think you made some great points there, Kerry, that we can really structurally, potentially improve. And I think you're right. I mean, in some ways, it's kind of absurd that, we put the first impression a lot of prospects are going to get from us are from our most junior people
Yep,
that probably understand the customer the least and know the least about our products. But you're right, because of the efficiency or the inefficiency of leads traditionally, we can't put a highly qualified person on it because it's just too expensive. And I think, I mean, there's a couple points there. And I think I agree. In the age of AI, we can much better score leads and prospects, right, and digitally qualify them. And I know that's one of the areas of partnership also between Sixth Sense and G2. We provide intent data, obviously more
mm-hmm.
bottom up level. I think you have a lot of intent data, but now I think in a system like Sixth Sense, you can actually digitally score that lead, that
That's right.
prospect in real time.
Yep,
And so one, you might figure out, wow, this one is so qualified. It fits our ICP perfectly. They have the exact pain that we're great at solving. Let's go to our best AE right away, right? I think one, that becomes an option. And
right.
two, for the lower qualified, they can still get a good personalized AI follow-up just to kind of make sure we didn't miss anything.
That's right. Yeah,
Give them some information, maybe even let them, like a lot of times it's also good you disqualify them, like, hey, I think our solution probably isn't for you based on what you're looking for, your company size. But the AI agent can confirm that and make sure you don't miss any. And then the good ones can be scored by AI, go right to the perfect AE or the perfect follow-up. And actually that AE can get better guidance
mm-hmm.
because they can also get all those AI insights on that account, that prospect, why they're super highly qualified, what their digital behavior has been, what topics are they interested in, what competitors are they looking at. So not only can you route it to the right person when it's super qualified, but you can give that even that great AE, give them much better data, much better information on that account. So when they do
Yeah,
talk to them, it's a great conversation. And I am just kind of B2B, and there've been some funny videos. If you compare this, like I said, I'm here in Vegas, right? You walk into Louis Vuitton, and they have like a concierge at the front door, and like B2C, we're going to get the best
right.
possible experience from the moment you walk in, and it's just a
Yeah,
delightful experience. And in B2B, I think you're right. We kind of traditionally have done the opposite. And I think with AI, we can really transform that, to one, make sure everyone gets good answers in real time, and then two, make sure with AI scoring, we can route the really qualified prospects leads to the best person right away. So I think, yeah, it probably will totally change the game. And ultimately, probably the most important thing, our prospects, our customers just have a much better experience than they do
right.
today.
Yep. So tell me about what native AI native actually, what does that mean to you? Because for most products, if they've been in market for a couple of years, they're probably not AI native to begin with. So Sixth Sense is, but most products aren't, and it's going to be retrofitted or built in, or what does that mean to you?
Yeah, and I think AI native is interesting. And I was just at a Salesforce Ventures Summit, and where they bring together is like 200 entrepreneurs of all different kinds of AI, enterprise AI companies, SaaS companies. And I think one of the interesting things I noticed was, I mean, you could argue the only truly AI native companies are those that were born after ChatGPT 3.5. And sometimes when I meet some of these startup entrepreneurs, I'm kind of jealous,
Yeah,
because they're really building their business from the ground up just differently. And I think a lot of the VCs are talking about now, $200 million companies, like these coding assistants, they're being built with almost no employees because these startups are just using AI from the beginning, to automate all their
right.
processes. So I think like in the world of startups anyway, you're probably only, and I started G2 over 10 years ago, so I would say we're not truly AI first either. Although on the product side, we're actually just launching a G2.ai, and we have added AI capabilities. Like I mentioned, our AI buying assistant, Monty. We've also trained Monty to help software sellers on G2, but we're actually going to try that and, launch a whole new G2.ai experience, which will be agent interaction first. Whereas G2.com, if you look at it, it's a Web 2.0 experience. We obviously think a pretty good one, but it's kind of the way you would have built a website 10 years ago.
Hmm.
Whereas today, well, and in 5 years, who knows, maybe there won't be any websites. You know what I mean? Like we'll just
Yeah,
interact with AI agents, whether it's ChatGPT, Gemini, or whether it's our AI Monty. So I think there's a tremendous opportunity to really reimagine AI first experience. And I
Yeah.
don't think I know exactly where it's going to be in 5 years. Same thing that people are saying about CRM systems. Like, is anyone still going to actually, is any sales rep still going to log into the CRM, to update their opportunities, their contacts, their accounts? Or are they
Yeah.
going to be talking to an AI agent that, brings to them, hey, here's this really hot, like we talked about, here's this perfectly hot qualified lead. Your number one priority this morning is follow up with them. Here's your AI briefing, everything you need to know about the account, why they're a great fit, what their problems are, what your pitch is, and just go at it, and
Yeah.
then the AI just listens to that first call, pulls all the structured data
Goes
you
into
need out
place.
to update your forecast, your pipeline, but the AE never is logging into a CRM anymore. They're just doing their job, interacting with an AI agent that's guiding them as they're doing their work. And behind the scenes, the AI is pulling out the structured data. We still need to do the things we traditionally do in CRM, like updating accounts, updating contacts, updating
Hmm.
opportunities, updating forecasts. But the rep, no longer has to log in any system. And I think that, that may be the future. Who knows? And I think
Yeah,
a lot of salespeople would love that, because,
for
and I
sure.
worked at Salesforce, great company, obviously leader at CRM, when after they acquired our startup Steelbrick, but no sales rep ever is like, oh, I'm excited to log into CRM and update it.
Right. Yeah, that's always a chore. It's also the thing that prevents the organization from really understanding its customers, from being able to take really great actions to build a better experience, to be more efficient. So
Mhm.
it's that particular interface of sales reps updating records has, it's still deeply flawed. Fixing that is probably a gateway to enormous efficiencies elsewhere in the business. Just having a full set of trustable information about what's actually happening on the front lines could be tremendously valuable. And then when you
Right.
think about, so if I think, you mentioned, the Web 2.0 experience or otherwise, and it's not really AI native yet in most cases. We can also think, well, if our go-to-market were AI native, if our just not a single system, but our whole go-to-market were really AI native and built from the ground up, whether it had to be retrofitted or not. But now it is an AI native system because what it's doing is taking full advantage of what AI can bring to that go-to-market process. So I'm not delivering a lead that somebody has to follow up with. I'm delivering instead an appointment with AEs and systems engineers on one side and a buying group on the other. Like, the AI takes us to the point where those people who are in a buying process and these people who can help them decide if this is the right vendor for them show up at a meeting where they're both prepared to have a great conversation about how they move forward, as opposed to somebody chasing 10 different people to get that one meeting. Why wouldn't, buyers already, all of our research, and I think everybody else's at this point too, just, buyers don't do what we think they do. They don't engage with us because we chase them. They engage with us when and if they've decided that they're far enough in market that they want to buy either from us or a competitor, and we're in that process. And now that's when they decide to engage. And so buyers have already left behind that old world. And the addition of things that you were talking about, the agents that help buyers find all of the information they need without going to somebody's website, could be really impactful. Then I think your website has to become something else, right? If it's going to be useful, if it's not going to be just information, it's going to have to be something where a buyer, at the very least, gets an experience so that they can understand what it's like to be your customer and whether that's a thing they want to be, as opposed to just information, right?
Yeah, it has to be
And
something they
yeah,
can't get from ChatGPT, which you're right. It could be like a really immersive demo experience.
right. Yeah,
AI has actually pre-configured, let's say, your 6 Sense solution for that particular company.
right.
Because you know enough about their industry based on data, their use cases, where you can say, hey, by the way, we've already set up 6 Sense for you. How would you like, would you just like to try it? So I think
Yeah,
it will take the websites to the next level. And I would say the other role of the website is still going to be to provide data. And we've also said now our new vision for G2 is to be the trusted data source in the age of AI. Because at the end of the day, we all know these LLMs, these AIs, I mean, they get their answers from somewhere, right? They have to be
They
trained
do,
on.
yeah.
And so maybe the future website is sort of dual purpose. One side of your website is more data, just training data for the LLMs and the AIs. And maybe your prospects don't even see that unless they really want to just read details, right? And then the other side is a very immersive customer experience where they can get right into a personalized experience your product. And so I think it will be, and honestly, I don't know exactly where it's going to be in 5 years, but I think I
Yeah.
could see that, where one, the website has deep experiences you can't ever get through a generic agent like ChatGPT. And on the other side, it has a ton of great training data that the LLMs trust, so that because they need to be updated. So I think it'll be really interesting. And I think people are also saying that's like the new SEO. Some people are calling it GEO,
Yep.
generative engine optimization, right? So it's but everything is changing, Kerry, and I think it is
Yes,
really
it is.
exciting. And I think those of us can go to market. I mean, the nice thing is there's low-hanging fruit. I think like I mentioned, I think your 6 Sense agents, they're already working. I think everything you can do to score with AI based on intent data, to better qualify, to only follow up on the hot prospects. I mean, all those things are available today.
Yeah.
And I think in 5 years, yeah, it may just be agents and agents, and maybe I'll just talk to a Kerry avatar.
That's
Kerry
right.
won't even have to come to the AI summit anymore, and I'll send my Godard avatar, and who knows, maybe we're all just on the beach, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's
It's a
just such
possible
an
future.
exciting,
Yeah.
yeah, such an exciting transformation. I do think, I mean, all this productivity, I think it will be. I'm an optimist. Yeah, I'm an entrepreneur. I think it will be unleashed for good, right? Because we can all be so much more productive, which I think means we can make the world better. We can have more fun, more leisure time, more creative time. And because more of the mundane work, will be done by AI agents, AI bots, and we can do more of the fun, creative work.
Yeah, that would be great. So we've only got a couple of minutes left. I wanted to get your sense from having been a company leader for a long time. A lot of people talk about, oh, we've got to learn how to write prompts effectively. That seems pretty surface level. What are the things that you think of for people that you want to bring into your business and how they have to relate to what's happening in AI now?
And one of the things we are encouraging is that we want every employee GT to be entrepreneurial and automate 10% of their job with AI.
Mm,
And obviously, there's simple things like when we're looking up information, maybe we go to ChatGPT. But I think there's also so many innovative tools we can apply. And we're also doing it in support. One area together with Salesforce plus Forethought, we're automating our support cases. And there you can actually see we're already doing 50% of our cases with AI. Soon it'll probably be
mm,
80%. So, but 10% I think is an absolute minimum because we not only want to do centralized initiatives, like working with 6Sense or working with Salesforce on service automation, but we also want to be entrepreneurial because there's also just tons of ways you can chain GPTs together to do any job better. And so I think it's
mhm.
both like tops down initiatives, that we can drive as leaders, plus encouraging entrepreneurial spirit bottoms up, where every employee is trying to innovate their job. And I think what I also say at our all hands, and I didn't come up with this quote, is, and I believe this, AI isn't going to replace humans. Humans with AI are going to replace humans without AI. And
Mm,
so I think it's something upon all of us as knowledge workers to learn the AI tools, apply them as well as possible, because we can all get much better. But frankly, if we don't, then one of our
yeah.
competitors will do it.
Yeah, you got to disrupt yourself. I mean, that's been true, I think, forever, but I think especially now, if you're not disrupting yourself, what you're doing and what got you to where you are is great. It's probably not what's going to get you to the next level or even keep you where you are. So, I think that's great advice.
Yeah, and I think it's also fun, honestly, because who likes doing the same thing every day? You know what
Yeah,
I mean? I think we can all
my
be
dog.
entrepreneurial. Yes. Uh, and but I think we can all reinvent our jobs and take away the mundane parts with AI and just be so much more productive and creative.
Absolutely.
Such a treat. Thank you so much, Kerry. Thank you so much,
You're
Godard.
welcome. Thanks,
What's
Godard.
the best way to support you both?
Uh, Godard.
Who's going to
Well,
go
I'll
first?
just
No
yeah,
support
I'll just say
needed.
you can find me on LinkedIn, Kerry Cunningham, pretty easy to find, and I'm posting from our research and things every day, and also 6sense.com/research will get you to the Science of B2B site where we publish all of our research.
Yeah, and like Kerry, I love LinkedIn, so hopefully we'll connect with some of you there. And of course, you can go to g2.com to experience Monty and see our AI agent at work, and hopefully it helps you find the perfect software for your business.